Hey friends, it's Mike here at Guitar Tricks, back with another video series, this time on how do you start to play lead guitar. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe to the channel and ring that notification bell. And while you're at it, hit that like button. It would really help out. Now, back to the lesson. So I'm going to do a couple videos in this series. This first video, I'm just going to focus on a general overview, some approaches and some things you can do right now to start getting into lead guitar. In my opinion, the number one thing that you can do is to just start learning solos note for note. So pick a few songs in the style that you love, maybe a player that you love, something that inspires you, and something that's in the wheelhouse of the kind of guitar player that you want to become. Start with something as simple as you can, maybe a little more of a melodic solo versus a speedy and intense solo, okay? And just commit to learning it note for note. What this is going to do is really train your ear into developing some instincts to be able to improvise over any chord shape, which is what we ultimately want to be able to do when we play leads. We want to be able to improvise and not have to think about it. Well, that comes from starting with just learning from the greats. Start learning solos note for note. Each phrase, each lick that you learn, put in your back pocket, your toolbox, whatever it is, and be able to draw from that when you improvise. Okay? With the resources that we have nowadays, as far as tabs and transcriptions, instructional videos, and most importantly, the ability to slow down these solos, slow down the recording to be able to hear what's really going on with each phrase, and also give you time to be able to develop it slowly, get it under your fingers, okay? And also when we learn it over and over and over again at a slow speed, it drills it into our ear. Because eventually we want to be able to hear it when we're improvising. We want to hear where we're going and have our fingers just do it. This is always the first step. Just learn some solos, try to train your ear with the sound of those licks and phrases, and be able to have that in your toolkit at your availability. Another thing you can do to start playing leads is to start to sharpen your expressive lead guitar techniques. When I'm talking about this, I'm talking about things like vibrato. Okay? Things like bending. Things like hammer-ons and pull-offs. Okay? These techniques are crucial in being able to play lead guitar. It really makes those lead solos sound more vocal-like and just makes them pop. Really gives you an ability to be able to add this to your style, okay? So what you want to do is in your practice routine, start finding some exercises that are targeted into these techniques. For example, a vibrato exercise or a bending exercise, and add this in every day on your practice routine to really sharpen these techniques into your playing. Okay, because you're going to encounter these things over and over and over again when you're learning to play solos note for note. Finally, I can't stress enough how great it is to have a basic understanding of scale patterns, okay? At the very least, know your minor pentatonic scale patterns, preferably all across the neck, but of course, it's just the basic one that we all start with. Okay? Knowing these patterns gives you a place to start, and how to use them is another thing. For example, even just to run down, add a little bit of vibrato, you can add that into an improvisation. Knowing how to sequence playing scales in a sequence, like, for example, descending in a group of 3, okay, that kind of idea, but add a little bit of smoothness and speed. Okay, it starts to become a little more musical, a little more like a phrase or a lick that you can put in your toolkit and use for improvisation. Another thing that's a great thing to know is a chord arpeggio. For example, A minor. Those are all notes that are in an A minor chord. And if we know the individual notes, that makes it easy for us to target notes over top of a chord progression, over top of a chord that we're playing over. And you can turn these into licks and phrases very easily. For example, this one. This is an arpeggio. of A minor. And you can just use a pull-off here and play it really fast. And suddenly it becomes something that you can use in improvisation. So I hope these kind of ideas and approaches help you when getting in to start to play lead guitar. In the coming videos, I'm going to go into a lot more detail into these concepts. What other tips would you like to see here on this channel? Please leave a comment and let me know. And be sure to check out guitartricks.com for more in-depth, step-by-step lessons. So we'll see you on the next one.